All right. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dorothy.
Hi, Susan. We are here with Sue Coffin. I called you Susan. Sue
That's all
Coffin.
right. That's all right.
You all know me on my channel. I'm Dorothy Morgan. You don't know me on Sue's channel. Maybe you do. We're going to talk
Yeah,
about Mercury
I
retrograde today. That is coming up in April. And we're going to talk about how to use it, what it shows, what it represents for us. And Sue, what are you going to interject? Because you're a numerologist.
I'm going to talk about the universal year in the month of April. Yeah, the universal year is that 8, right?
Nice.
Power, money, material success, go get it, very strong energy.
Yeah.
The eight is about going into the dark, coming into the light. So
Oh,
there's
I
a lot
love
of
that.
reevaluation going on, people looking at things deeper. And in
Yeah.
April, it's about communication.
Oh, perfect for Mercury. That's
Yeah.
perfect for Mercury. Yeah, because when we have Mercury retrograde, let me share my screen with you. First off, I want to make sure I have the right thing up. Whenever I share my screen, just for a moment,
Yeah.
momentarily. This is on AstroSeek. AstroSeek is for those who don't have software or just want to explore and play. This is fantastic. Sue, can you see the whole thing? I can't see the whole
I
thing on my
can.
screen. You
Yes,
can?
I can
Okay,
see it.
terrific. Astroseek.com is wonderful. And but come to me for your full-time astrology needs, okay?
Most definitely.
They're fun for exploring, but here I am. But what you can see is just this is for this year, 2024 into 2025, but you can see how long Mercury is in a zodiac sign and why these red line, the red areas, those are the fire signs. We're starting right now. Mercury retrograde on April 1st will start in the sign of Aries. That's a fire sign. All right. Later in the year, when is the next one? The next one will be
July.
it says
Mm.
July there, but it's August. Oh, I know what I'm doing here. The next one after the one we're going to talk about today, though, is in August. It's August 4th or 5th. It depends on where you live. That's what was confusing me. So that one will be all in August. And it starts in Virgo, but it's mainly, that's why Virgo has a little extra space here because the retrograde starts in Virgo in July. And, but it's mostly retrograde in Leo. And then the one in November, December will be up in the fire sign of Sagittarius. So
Mm.
for the most part, 2024 Mercury retrograde are in the fire signs. So Aries, the Leo, Virgo in the summer, and then the Sag in the winter. And Sue and I will cover all three of these throughout the year,
Yes,
just
most
so you
definitely.
can have that. And then Mercury moves really quickly through the other earth and air signs and water signs, like it always does. But this is typical because every year Mercury is retrograde 3 times and it spends a significant amount of time in one area of the zodiac. Last year, 2022, it was back and forth between earth and fire, so it wasn't a real honed in focused elemental Mercury retrograde, but this year it pretty much is for 2024. So I just
Yeah, a
wanted you to
lot of
get that
people have
vision.
asked me, they think that Mercury retrograde is longer. This because of my calendars, I have it on my calendars, my numerology calendars.
Uh-huh.
But you explained to me that because it's in 1 month, it's not in taking two weeks at the end of 1 month, going 2 weeks into the next month,
Right.
which is what it happens a lot. But
Yeah,
so it's
because
no longer than normal.
no, it's not. No, no,
No.
it's not any longer than usual. They're usually right around 3 weeks. When it's longer, because it does sometimes the Mercury retrograde, depending on where it is out in how we get to view it. There are times when it takes an extra day or it's moving slower. So sometimes it will last. That's what happens. Sometimes it moves slower. I don't want to get into the science of it, but depending on where it is out in the solar system, it does,
Oh,
from our view,
interesting.
it's all of those different things. It will move slower and it will last one extra day
Mhm.
because the retrograde is moving slower. And those are the retrogrades that we feel a lot deeper. These ones are moving at a normal speed. I think one of these, and I didn't do the math for today's video, so I won't bother speaking to it much, but one of these is a little bit longer than the others. But it's not enough for you to even be, you're not splitting hairs when it comes to Mercury retrograde. You're not, especially those of us who are listening, we're not experts on this. We
Right.
are just saying why we want to know about Mercury retrograde is like, how is it going to impact? Everybody says, oh,
Right.
Mercury's retrograde whenever anything goes wrong, and things go wrong all the time. So it's not just that, but we want to just look at it in everyday cycle.
Right.
So if it does
Because it
last,
does have an impact.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And of course it does. Yeah, and the retrogrades, if you could look at the ephemeris, I mean, the retrogrades last approximately 3 weeks, so 21 day, 24 days, or 22,
Hmm.
23, 24 days. So approximately 3 weeks is what they last, a little over 3 weeks. And then it's 3 weeks before, 3 weeks after that it takes approximately for it to move through the area, which people call the shadow, for it to
Hmm.
move through the area that it's going to be retrograde in. And so it
Right.
takes about 9 weeks to move through an area that usually takes 2.5 to 3 weeks, depending on how fast it's moving. You see, it's really moving fast through Gemini, and it's really
Yeah.
moving fast through Cancer because it's 0.04 this year. So that means it's just moving really quick through those zodiac
Hmm.
signs, Pisces too. So
The other thing
anyways,
that you've taught me is it's the middle. It's in the middle of the Mercury retrograde, that's the intensity. Is that
nope,
right?
it's the exact opposite of that. It's the beginning and the end, Sue, because
Oh, okay.
and this is part of it, the stationary positions where Mercury
Right.
stops to change direction. It will spend 2, 3, 4 days. Again, it varies, but 3 to 4, I would rather say 3 to 4 days at the degree it's going to, the degree that it stops at,
Hmm.
whether it's going retrograde or direct.
Hmm.
And this year, Mercury is stationary on April 1st at 27 degrees of Aries. Now it's going to be at 27 degrees of Aries for 1, 2, 3, 4 days. 4 days. April 1st is the middle. So April 1st is the day
Oh,
it's officially
okay.
retrograde. It's just like, I mean, in our automobiles, we can stop pretty quick to a full
Hmm.
stop and put our car into reverse. But just think of a tractor trailer having to do that, something just a little bit bigger,
Right.
on how it has to slow down to make a complete stop and all the gears it takes to reverse. Just think of it like that. That's why it takes a few days. To me, those are the days of stress.
Hmm.
But it doesn't have to necessarily be stress. It can be if you're in a stressful situation.
Hmm.
And the same thing happens when it's stationary at the other end of the retrograde period to move direct. And this year, that's at 15 degrees of Aries, and that will be on April 25th. So the retrograde in this cycle that we're looking at, Mercury retrograde in the sign of Aries, is April 1st to April 25th. April 1st, we're in between eclipses here too. So don't forget to go watch
Right.
my eclipse videos.
Yes.
When this
Yes.
comes up, I already have the full moon lunar eclipse out, so you'll be able to see that. I'll link it to this
Nice.
video when you're watching this on
Yes.
YouTube for you guys.
Yes.
And
Nice.
so, yeah, and so to have a few things here, let's cover a couple of things. Mercury retrograde, and so we're going to slow down the emphasis on those, especially on those days, communication and self-expression and taking action. Mercury retrograde in Aries, and this stationary energy is just so intense. It feels really concentrated. So if you are working on, if you're managing some Aries energy, and the Aries energy is action and movement and even anger,
Mhm.
and really or speaking up and defending yourself. Mercury is our communication. Aries is all of those fiery things in a positive way, brainstorming and coming up with great new ideas. However, the beginning of this retrograde is in a waning lunar phase as well. We have to pay attention to that. That means when you have conversations with people, if you're feeling, like I really need to say something to somebody, it's not about picking a new bone about a new subject. It's about working on something from
Right,
before waning lunar phase, Mercury retrograde. It's like, I really, it's just like somebody rehashing an old situation, but you have an opportunity now with this retrograde in the lunar phase, in between two eclipses, to really get to the root of a problem and take some action on that, because that is really what we want to do here.
it's almost like don't react,
Don't
don't
react.
react.
That's a really great
Pull
way to
your,
say it.
pull yourself back and,
Yep.
and just breathe and then
Yep.
let it process it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly, because we're going to, in a retrograde like this, Mercury retrograde in Aries, we are going to revisit past conversations, reevaluate decisions we've made. Perfect time for this. This
Mhm.
isn't a negative. This is a
Oh, no.
wonderful way to use Mercury
Mm,
retrograde so we
right,
can understand things on a deeper level. So we
right.
can work with others, because the eclipses we're having are Aries and Libra, and the Mercury is retrograde in Aries. It's going to connect with the eclipse point that we have on April 8th. And the whole point is, it's like we have this big opportunity to reconsider what we're saying, to look at old ways of doing things, to look at our old conflicts and misunderstandings, and really get to the bottom of it so we can let it go. I mean, seriously, let
Right.
it go. Do this work between the 1st and the 8th of April. I think you will be
And in
bound to that.
April, numerology being the third month of
Yes.
the three personal month,
Yeah.
universally, I would tell people, speak your truth from your heart.
Perfect.
Pull those words out that you really need to say,
Yeah.
not in an angry way. That's why you got to step back and make sure you've composed yourself and you're ready to say it in a
True
kind
enough.
way.
But in an angry way is also perfectly fine for Mercury in Aries, because
Really.
sometimes, this, sometimes people just have to get pissed off to
Yeah,
say something,
yeah.
because some people are they just
They
would
call
rather
it
not rock the
so
boat,
close to their house,
and
right?
they feel very vulnerable. And
Mhm.
sometimes a transit like this during eclipse period, in this, all of the things, it can come to a head, being angry and upset. And we do say things we need to say. Of course, sometimes
Mhm.
we all put our foot in our mouth here and there in life. But the point is, it's like a way that I just don't want to dismiss the fact that Aries is about getting angry and about getting mad and allowing that to come out, just like a really ugly zit that just needs to, like, I mean, you don't want it to stay in. You got to let the pressure out, man. So gross,
Um,
but I know.
no, Aries is, it's get it done,
Yes.
right? Move it,
Yeah.
move things along. It reminds me of the number one
Okay.
energy, very strong energy,
Yeah.
pioneer, go getter.
Yeah.
But is it in the first house? Is that right?
Aries is the natural ruler of the first house.
House,
Yes.
right,
So looking
okay.
at the natural chart, it might not be the case for you. It depends on, that roulette wheel of life where you hold your Aries. My Aries, all my Aries is in my 12th house. But we're still going to feel that. So you're absolutely correct. It is naturally the first house.
No, I
But
think my Aries is in the ninth house.
I didn't look at your chart before we
So,
started.
so when we talk about this stuff, we're looking at the natal chart. When you say where your Aries is, it's about
Mhm.
where it is when you were born.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's a different placement. We have the natural chart, where when we learn astrology, we learn Aries rules the first house, Mars rules Aries. Taurus rules the second house,
Right.
Venus, and on we go. That's the foundation. That's what's underneath our chart. And then we're born with our planets in all the different places at a different time of day, all different times of day. We have different things that are at the first house, but the natural balance, the natural chart is still underneath what our superimposed personality is. Yeah. So everybody
Yeah.
has Aries somewhere. You're not in Aries. You don't have to be in Aries for this to impact you.
Mhm.
So tell
Yeah.
me about April and all of those things. I want to hear that
Yeah.
part.
Well, okay.
Talk a
So
lot.
if, again, if we look at the universal year, 2024, you add that up, you get the number 8.
Mhm.
And 8 is all about power, money, material success, climbing the ladder. It is about reevaluating things, looking at things on a deeper level to make it, it's in constant motion, right? Your pencil never leaves the paper when you're writing the number 8.
Right.
It's always around. It's the infinity when you turn it over.
Mhm.
But it can cause a little bit of chaos because it does want us to look at things and reevaluate things. Now, when we get into April, it's going to be the number 3 month.
Okay.
And 3 is by rights, it's very social, fun. It
I like that.
likes to be out and about. It likes to, it's very creative.
Mhm.
It can be very impulsive, restless. So, but it is about using its words. It's a communicator.
Oh
So
yeah.
it's supposed to use its words, speak its truths from its heart,
Yeah.
um, settle things. Now, a lot of times when 3 is around, friends become issues because friends are the ones that poke us to make us look at things deeper. So,
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised, but some friends come in and they just kind of sneak some things in to make us just have to speak our
And
truths.
address something. Because
Yeah.
if I've always discovered, I mean, and this is just the psychology of humanity, if something is upsetting you that somebody else is saying or doing, you know, it's okay for, I mean, it's not about blame, but it's okay for you to look at, well, why is that bothering me?
Right.
Why is that upsetting me? That's what we
Yes.
need to do. I mean, to me, that's
Right.
important.
And
Yeah.
everything is a teacher, right, Dorothy? It's
Yeah, it
all
is.
teaching. We shouldn't take it personally. We should look at that person and say, what are they teaching me? What do I have to look at? Like you
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
The other thing about this is great networking. Great
Oh,
time to
yeah.
be out. There's a great time where somebody might introduce you to somebody influential, somebody who could
Yeah.
help propel you down the line.
Yep.
Doesn't need to
Exactly.
be big. It could be just that minor little detail that helps you to move
I th-
forward a little bit.
yes, that's you saying this is a number 3 in April. Is that what you were saying?
Correct.
If I was
Correct.
to look at the natural rulership of the third house is cousins, siblings, neighbors.
Yeah.
Mercury rules the
Right.
third house. It's Gemini energy. We are as so it's all of that social. So yeah, the number 3 for the month of April is in
It's
this year and
right.
that month, right? Is that how that
You're
works?
right. But when you put Mercury retrograde in the middle of that, I believe things swing back around. There's
Yes.
some things, there will be some issues that you're gonna have to
Mhm.
reevaluate and look at.
Yeah. Make a different
And you gotta
decision.
slow down a little bit. It can't be so reactive, I don't
Mercury
think.
red Mercury in Aries is like so fast, quick-witted, quick
Mhm.
thinking. But you're right, when it's retrograde and it has 9 weeks approximately to spend in an area that only took 3 weeks, let me tell you, the healthy human being, the healthy psychology, we are going to be able to explore our own stuff and our own
Yes.
communication style, our own self worth, self discovery, all of those things. But what we'll see in the world, and here's some of it's not all sugarcoating. What we'll see
Yeah.
in the world is people being angry at each other and very mad
Right.
at each other because they're just not interested in going deeper. Aries has never been about going deep anyways, because that's not what its intention is. It's not
Mhm.
what it's meant for. It's meant for action. However, we will see this in the world in a lot of ways where there's a lot of anger and a lot of fighting. We already have
Mhm.
plenty of wars. Uh, but we'll see this can be amplified. But during the retrograde period, it could be a time where there is people like ceasefire. We need to make negotiations,
Mhm.
whether they
Yeah,
fall apart or not. I'm not predicting any of those things, but these are
right,
all potentials that we can already see in the
correct.
world. But
Things
continues.
slow down.
How
Yeah.
does that coincide with the numerology, or does it?
Uh, oh, most definitely. Most definitely. It, there's going to be a lot of, you know what, slung at the wall this in April.
Spaghetti
There you go. Thank you.
because of the S.
Um,
It's
uh,
spaghetti.
yeah, it's spaghetti. Yeah, a lot of it, and it's not going to all stick. That's for sure. It could be quite it could be quite volatile with all
Yeah.
the words that are going to come about. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the second week in April could be significant. Something unexpected could come forward.
Yeah. Second week
I
in
also
April.
think that
Eclipse, ma'am.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to change. The third week, there will be some type of change that comes in, and the
Yeah.
fourth week will be a little bit about reevaluating and thinking about it and pulling back. There's could even be something that comes, a secret comes out, and
Imagine that.
something.
That's
What's
happening.
that?
Imagine that.
Yeah,
Depending on how
really,
much
I
you pay
know.
attention to, you
Yeah,
know.
I know. Um, But I do think the week two, and people will say to me, well, what does week two mean? What energy comes and it goes, it flows constantly. So I can't say directly it's going to stop. It's going to start on the
Yeah, I
8th, and
get
it's
it.
going to, yeah. So in that area, something surprising can come forward. Doesn't mean it's bad, right? We've had
Correct.
great surprising things come to us. So,
Exactly.
um,
So yeah, and even in this time frame on April 19th, and yes, since we had a leap year, we had a leap day, we had an extra day in February.
correct,
Um, the change of the signs may be a day early because we've pushed one in, we've added one. So
right.
um Taurus shows up on April 19th. So the sun in the sign of Taurus. So that means one more planet, the sun, is out of Aries. So that
Oh,
is starting the third week, where the sun
mhm.
is in Taurus, and it will slow down the fire energy of Mercury
Oh,
retrograde. And again, on April 8th, that big eclipse. Will you be able to
yeah.
see it? I'll be able to see it. I have to drive
Yes.
just a couple hours north to get the totality of it, but I'll be able
Yeah.
to see it.
Yeah,
But
we'll be able to see it.
let's pray
Yeah,
for
it's gonna
good
be quite
weather.
a day. Yeah, that I know. What's the chances, right? Only what? We have 127 days of sunshine in where I live. In
Oh my God. I've never looked
yes.
that up. I'm in New Hampshire. I'm in the middle part of New Hampshire. So
Yeah,
I
well,
don't know.
I hope it's out for everybody to witness. I can
Maybe.
remember as a child, we lived right next to a big field. And the
Hmm.
university came down and built a big platform for one of the solar
Oh,
eclipses. It
yeah.
was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what do you think, April 8th?
Um,
That would be
I'm
a 20 day for me, a
I'm still
2-0.
working on that forecast. I haven't got that forecast out yet. I am doing a big lecture on that over on Patreon too, so anybody can check that out. Um, the new moon is mainly about, we have a new moon every month, but it's not that the sun and the moon and the earth are perfectly by declination aligned. That's what the total solar eclipses represent. um it's in Aries. It's in 19 degrees of Aries, and Mercury is going to connect with that. I wrote the dates down, but I forgot. I don't know where I put them.
Yeah.
But it's it's about focusing on the self. So this is why I feel while Mercury is retrograde, before we get to the solar eclipse, the new moon solar eclipse on April 8th, it's at 2:28 nope, it's at 2:21 p.m. Eastern time. So go ahead and adjust to whatever your time zone is. But the point is like, if we are, it's recommended. This is how we use astrology. Mercury in Aries, all the things we've just said, the numerology as well. It's about inner reflection. So when we get to the new moon, that is requesting that we, or I recommend you journal around that day. I would do it the day of, the day after. You got a couple of days when there's a lot going on with that
Mhm.
eclipse. It's not just that moment in time. Sit down and look at what you think you want to um, bring into your life. What steps do you want to take for more healing? So that shows me from April 1st to the 8th, while Mercury is retrograde and moving
Yeah,
super slow, till we get to that eclipse, waning lunar phase, we have a whole week to work on what is inside and what needs to come out, but what needs to come out in a healthy way. So hopefully you're able to
right,
approach that. And that new moon
right.
eclipse in Aries, just in a nutshell, is about our own approach and our own drive. This is a really wonderful opportunity to just start to put onto paper what you want out of life now, what you want now, what is important for you now, what do you
Yeah,
value, and what do you want. And that is
yeah.
an approach. And then when Mercury finally does turn around on the 25th of April, at 15 Aries, you'll just have that opportunity to just to reevaluate and slowly work towards some of those goals. Because it's eclipses, solar eclipses. Of course, indigenous peoples are like, don't look, don't watch them.
Mhm.
Their story is that it's not a good thing to see in person. Stay
Oh,
inside.
really? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
I know it is. It's part of a few indigenous stories, but that's okay.
Hmm.
Millions of people are going
I
to
think
see
it was
it.
because it was so scary
I
back
think,
then. They didn't know what was going on. It must have
yeah,
been really frightening if you
it
think
must
about
have
it.
been because it didn't happen in the same place, and there's so few people, anyways. But um, now we can just see it wherever we go, or just watch it.
Right, right. Yeah, I
But
know.
anyways,
We're
so
lucky.
yeah, that's so to me that's in a nutshell that eclipse. But I'll dig deep into that into my regular forecasts.
Nice.
Yeah,
I would highly recommend anybody to sign up for Dorothy Morgan's Patreon. She has
so
wonderful videos. I'm on it. She teaches me all the time. It's fun.
yeah.
Dorothy's a wonderful teacher, so
Thank
I'll
you.
make sure I have all that information on the description below so that everybody can check it out.
Yeah,
Because you have a free, but then once you do the free, it's like, ooh, I want to
I want
dig
more.
deeper.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I go to the next level and the next
Right.
level.
Yeah. There's four levels
Yeah,
and they're not expensive, but the point is like, wherever you're at on, you just get more content and more content and more content. And
right.
it's just, yeah, that's where I do most of my teaching. I have taught a couple classes. I just finished teaching a very foundational astrology class, but that's going to be available for sale soon. I'm just finishing today. I'm going to finish the recordings for it. I'm just going to sell it as a
Oh,
product as opposed to,
nice.
might as
Oh,
well.
that's a good
And
idea.
but yeah, you could just get to do more. And Sue is doing live numerology on her YouTube channel. That'll be linked in here too. I'll tag her. It's like you do at.
Yeah.
And what is the name of your YouTube
What the
channel?
heck is numerology? Is the name of the show. It's Healing Numbers 22. If you
Healing
search
Numbers
that,
22 on
you're
YouTube,
gonna
but I'll
find
link
me.
it below
Yes.
for everybody as well. And Sue's wonderful in her numerology sessions, and she's just really
Yeah,
gives
we
a
have
lot
so
of
much
great
fun,
help.
don't we, Dorothy?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, it's really wonderful the way you've done this for over a year now, where we work together in all kinds of different
Yeah.
modalities, astrology, numerology, psychic medium,
Yes.
tarot, and it just, it all works really beautifully together. So
Energy is energy.
it is.
We can't deny that.
No.
So if we can just get people to acknowledge that and learn what the energy wants from them,
Yeah.
then it's easier to maneuver through the
Yeah, it sure
what's
is.
called life.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got a great month with numerology with
Yes,
astrology for April, number 3 and an 8. I like that. Yeah.
yep. And
That
Mercury
means that we
being
have, in a nutshell, that means what, Sue?
it would be communication, most
Okay.
definitely. It would be socializing, people coming into your life. Some may be triggering things, some may be bringing up
Yeah.
different emotions because of Mercury. We're swinging the
Yeah.
past around. That's gonna.
Yeah.
So, my advice is to just like Dorothy said, journal. journal, allow yourself to express yourself on the paper. You don't have to tell people what you're thinking or saying, and then reevaluate that at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Awesome. This has been wonderful, Sue.
Nice, always nice seeing you, Dorothy.
Always nice. And everybody else, all our info will be below. So I'll have that
Most
attached.
definitely.
Take
Most
good care.
definitely.
Blessings. Namaste and have a
Bye.
great Mercury retrograde.